Welcome to Balanced Life Entrepreneur. I'm your host, Angela Clark. Life is a crazy, wonderful adventure, and it can pull you in every direction, sometimes all at once. Can you really achieve success in one area of life without losing it all everywhere else? Can it really be done? Are you up for a good challenge? Well, let's get started. Hello, and welcome to episode 12 of Balanced Life Entrepreneur. Now, last time we started to dive into Dr. Gary Chapman's book, The 5 Love Languages. I feel like it's an oldie but a goodie, one that has really made a difference in my life. And not only just in my relationship with my husband, but once you understand these 5 love languages, you will apply these tools, and they are definitely tools. You will apply these tools to every relationship that you have. Your children, your friends, your family members, your coworkers. It makes a huge difference in the balance that you have in your life, in the success that you have with relationships. And relationships are vital in having that balanced life that we're all seeking. So we touched base on what are the 5 love languages last week, and I promised we would dive into each one. So we're starting with the first one, and that is words of affirmation. I have always been a huge Mark Twain fan, and Dr. Chapman actually starts out this chapter with a Mark Twain quote. He said, "I can live for 2 months on a good compliment." If we take Twain literally, 6 compliments a year would have kept his emotional love tank at the operational level. Probably everyone else around you, including you, needs a little more than that. King Solomon wrote, "The tongue has the power of life and death." He also wrote, "An anxious heart weighs a man down, but a kind word cheers him up." Oh, that's so true. Our words are so powerful. So what are some examples of words of affirmation? How about stuff like, "You look good in that suit," or "Do you ever look nice in that dress? Wow!" Or, "You must be the best potato cook in the world. I love these potatoes." Okay, that one sounds a little funny, but you get the idea. How about, "I really appreciate your washing the dishes tonight." "Thanks for getting the babysitter lined up tonight. I want you to know I don't take that for granted." Or how about stuff like, "Hey, thanks for paying the electric bill last week. I really appreciate not having to worry about that." Or, "Hey, babe, thanks for making sure the kids got where they needed to go today. That was such a huge weight off of my shoulders. I really appreciate that." These statements are all wonderful, and they're very much needed in every relationship that we have. But the book's not just talking about verbal flattery to get people to do things that you want them to do, or to get your own way with something. But you have to agree that when you do receive encouraging and affirming words, it does motivate you to reciprocate and do something for that person that makes you feel good, doesn't it? It absolutely does. Now, giving verbal compliments is only one way to express words of affirmation. Another way is encouraging words. The word encourage means to inspire. All of us have areas in which we feel insecure. We lack courage. And the lack of courage often keeps us from accomplishing the positive things that we would like to do. Personally, I know when I am struggling with something, I get such a huge boost from my husband's encouraging words. Now, of course, you have to step back and think encouragement is not pushing somebody to do something. You know, sometimes we see people and we see their awesomeness, and of course, they don't. We're looking at them from the outside, and sometimes that encouragement can be interpreted by them as pushing. And of course, pushing's going to have the opposite effect. It's going to push them away, which is not what we're trying to do with words of affirmation. Encouragement requires us to have empathy and see the world from that person's perspective. We have to learn what's important to that person. Only then can we give encouragement. With verbal encouragement, we're trying to communicate, I know, I care, I'm with you. How can I help? We're trying to show that we believe in them and their abilities. We're giving credit and praise, which is so vital. And I do think the book also kind of takes a sidestep here for a second and makes note on our tone. The tone of our voice is so vitally important, and we know this, but it's really good review, isn't it? When we say something, it is very much interpreted by the tone of our voice. We can say, I love you. Or we can say, I love you, right? Or we can say, I'd be delighted to wash the dishes tonight. Or, I'd be just delighted to wash the dishes tonight. One is meaningful, one is very sarcastic. So tone is vitally important. Without the correct tone, our words of affirmation aren't even close to positive. They'll be quite the opposite. People will be hurt and resentful. Now, there's lots of different ways that you can express words of affirmation. One of my favorites to do, especially with employees, when I meet their family for the first time, this is for everybody, but I love giving a compliment to the parent of one of my employees when I meet them. Something like, your daughter is just an amazing individual. You did such a great job raising this one. I just wanted to let you know. And I'll say it whether my employee is there or not, because you know that parent is going to talk about that later with my employee. Or if I get credit for something and I can also credit those around me, always take the opportunity to say thank you. But it really wasn't just me. It was so-and-so or so-and-so. Or back to marital relationships. I tell people about my husband all the time. I talk about him. People love him. People that don't even know him love him. Because as long as they have known me, I have talked about how much of an amazing man he is. I talk about my kids like that too. I talk about my employees like that to other people that come into the business. Now, are all these people absolutely perfect? Yeah. Of course not. But there's nothing wrong with choosing to talk about the positive side of people. And trust me, it always gets back to them. And you have to do this with pure motives, no ulterior motives. We're not complimenting people to get something out of them. We're not complimenting to manipulate. We're complimenting, praising, encouraging, because we really mean it. We want the best for these individuals. We appreciate these people in our lives. Now, we should be doing this with every single person in our lives. Not just one specific person that we think this is their love language. Yes, if you have somebody that this is their love language, then you can go out of your way to make sure that, I think especially when you're building the relationship or you see that they're struggling and they really need those words of affirmation right now in their life, then this is when this tool, this being able to recognize people's love language is vitally important. But don't you agree that everybody needs positive words in their life? Everybody needs to know that they're valued and appreciated. That's words of affirmation. And if in this podcast we're trying to figure out how to have a balanced life as an entrepreneur, it's vitally important that we recognize how to build strong, stable, secure relationships with those around us. Because without that, we're nothing. We don't become a successful, balanced entrepreneur without bringing others with us, without having successful relationships in our lives, whether it be at home or at work. And that's the whole point of this podcast. So I'm going to end it here. Words of affirmation. Take what we've talked about today and apply it to your life. Let those around you know how special they are, how valuable they are, how important they are. Whether it's people you work with, live with, or run into at the grocery store. Everyone has value, and you will find that the more you appreciate their value, the more they appreciate you. It's a win-win all the way around. Now go, get out there, conquer your world. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and share this with your friends. Leave a comment. I'd love to hear what you think about today's episode and how you plan on working this new information into your life. And when you hit that notification button, you'll be notified of our next episode, which we are going to be talking about the love language number 2, quality time. Ooh, I can't wait to talk about that one. We'll see you next time.